Hey everybody, it's John with Simplest Biz about the pallet business. And I want to go over today two separate points. One, how to do this business if you're working a full-time job. And how to transition from a full-time job into this business. I'm going to give you some pointers on that, some of the things my students have done, and give you some insight on how to go about it and what the lay of the land is. But first, thumbs up on the video if you like it. Or thumbs up anyway. Hit the bell so you get notifications. Subscribe to the channel. Write us at thesimplestbiz@gmail.com if you got questions. Go to thesimplestbiz.com if you want more information. Set up an appointment if you need to ask us some questions. There'll be some things on at thesimplestbiz.com, a button you can press to set up an appointment. If you're ready to buy the course, we have some information about that as well. Just email us, okay? Or look in the description area of this video. So let's dig deep into this, because I got a question in the YouTube channel earlier, and somebody was trying to work this problem out in their mind of how about going about doing this. Okay, I'm gonna give you a quick example of what happened to me when I first started doing this back in '98. I was doing a remodeling business, and a job fell through. Some of you've heard this story. And anyway, I stumbled into this business model, and it really attracted me because of all the, the benefits. Free product. I didn't have to store it. Low overhead, no employees, and recurring orders and all that type of stuff. Regardless, I jumped in, I just dove head first into this to try to figure it out back in '98. And fortunately I did, and it's been a really good life. But that's the way I went about it. But one thing did happen shortly after I started helping out a friend of mine who was opening up a catering business. And I don't even know why I did it, but I did. And I guess because she just asked, and I said, yeah, I'd help her get it launched off the ground. And regardless, I was building my business and all, but I still was on my lunch hour. Even I would go out because I was in proximity to the businesses already that I was dealing with. I would go out and do 1 or 2 loads during my lunch hour and knock it out and come back. And I realized in short order I was making more money in my lunch hour on one day than I was all week doing the catering thing, helping out with the catering business. It was a kind of a disposable catering type thing for doctor's offices and stuff like that. So that didn't last very long. And we're showing her, my friend, the checks and saying, listen, I need to transition to that. So even on my lunch hour, I was able to execute a few orders and knock those out. Now, here's the other aspect of this is there was a time when I wanted to go on vacation on Monday, but I had orders on Monday. Okay, so what I did, and fortunately these were businesses that were open 24 hours a day. One of them actually even wasn't, but they had a private dock that it was out of sight, and I delivered the pallets at midnight, just to get it out of the way so I could get an early start on my vacation. And I've done some that are a 24-hour situation where you have businesses that are open 24 hours, 7 days a week, where you can deliver any time of day. Okay. The norm for a lot of the heavy industry businesses that we deal with, fortunately, let's say you start your job at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, your normal job that you're working now. Well, a lot of these businesses open up at 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. So you have a 2-hour window to actually go out there and execute the orders, or even scout for them now, or talk to them at those early hours. You can also do, and the training will provide this, a lot of the scouting and knowing what these businesses are dealing with from home. And I'll teach you those tactics in the training, and who they are and where they are and how to communicate with them, even over the phone. Now, I'm more of a face-to-face kind of guy when I deal with folks, because I want to see a lay of the land and see some of the problems they're having with my own eyes, so I can solve some problems. So, but you can be efficient on the phone too if you learn the tactics I'm going to teach you and the scripts I'll teach you in the training. That being said, so we have that early morning window. A lot of those businesses, they want to go home at 4. A lot of times though, there's a late truck, and they don't get out of there till 5:30. So if somebody get off at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you sometimes you have a 4 to 5:30 window to execute the order. It only takes about, especially if you do this the right way, and where I got you, where we're only going a few blocks from point A to point B, I mean, it literally can take you 35 minutes from getting to the business you're picking up from. They're loading your truck, you're strapping it down, driving 3 blocks, and they're unloading the truck, and you're done, writing the invoice out. And like I said before, a lot of times on the weekends, suppliers are open where you can get supply. You could have that truck loaded up on a Sunday evening, and on the way to work even, drop those off on the way and go straight on to work if you can park a truck where you work. Or just knock it out early, because you're only dropping off if you have it loaded on the weekend or the evening of Sunday, and you have to drop it off Monday morning. That's a good way of going about it. Another aspect of it is you can stack up several orders on one day of the week, which I think is smart to begin with, especially if you don't have a truck yet and you're renting. It's important to maximize that rental. So you can dictate when you work. We're not like McDonald's with the pallet business. You probably heard me say this before, because we're not waiting for this business to get down to 0 on stacks of their pallets. There's always an overlap. There's 25, 50 pallets left when we're delivering, and we're making sure that they don't run out. They're going to use them, right? But we're not trying to get ourselves in a position where we get a call, we're out of pallets. And I'll teach you all those tactics as well as in the training to prevent those type of scenarios of happening, and how to set your business model up so you work when you want to work, not when they're dictating you to work, okay? And then back to what I was saying, stacking several orders up on one day of the week is a really smart way to doing it. Maybe you work a half day and you have an afternoon off. Well, you could say, I do my deliveries on Thursday afternoon, right? Or Thursday morning, or whatever the day is. The problem you'll run into are some businesses that say, you're not willing to get up at 5 and 5:30 in the morning to knock out an order, and you only have Saturday and Sundays. Well, then you're going to limit yourself to the businesses that are open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And there's some nice businesses with that business model, but you realize you're putting yourself in a box there where you're only having to be able to work if you're really limited to Saturday and Sunday. The other aspect that I have a lot of students do, they've built up some vacation time or free days as well. And I can't think of a better use of your time is to take that day off. And one, when you're starting out, is scouting, right? And I'm going to teach you exactly how to scout from home. But when I say scouting, it's also meaning going out and having the conversation and asking the questions that I teach you in the training and setting the deals up on that day off. And you can really knock out a bunch. When I first started this back in 98, I was literally singing, because I didn't know where I was going. So you guys are going to have an advantage, and girls will have an advantage, because I'm going to guide you the type of businesses, and show you how to solve these problems, know what questions to ask, know how to set the deal up, how to evaluate the deal, be able to spot the problems and issues that they're having, and sweeten the deal in a way and structure it in a way to where it's a win-win-win. And there's a balance, a win between the supplier and the buyer and yourself. Okay, so that always has to take place. But back to the topic on hand, taking that day off and hitting 25, 30 businesses, in a day is very doable, especially when you're starting out and you're starting from 0 and want to get off to a fast start. You will know where you're going and what you're going to say, which questions you're going to ask. I even give you cheat sheets, so you don't have to memorize everything in the actual training where you can carry around. So there's video of me actually doing it, but there's also materials in the file cabinet that you'll be able to print off and carry around with you. So like you probably heard me say before, you don't have to memorize every question you need to ask, but you need to ask these questions. And knowing what I'm telling you now about how to set this up if you're part-time at work, or you want to do this part-time, or if you want to do it full-time, or transition, you still need to know your stuff. You still need to know these tactics and how to set the deal up. I call this the simplest biz. I want to explain this here as well, is the fact of after you set these accounts up, like today, I'll have 2 orders today that I'm delivering. Well, that's simple, okay? I'm picking up pallets and delivering them. That's the simple part. The part that you need to know is how to set those deals up. And there's some hustle involved in getting that done. And there's some wisdom and knowledge you need to know to get that done as well. And that's the part where you're going to have to put some effort in for this training. And if you're lazy, or you don't have a work ethic, or you don't have, any communication skills, that's fine. That's not fine. You need to work on yourself. I don't want those type of students. Now, if you don't know anything about pallets, that's perfectly fine, is what I meant to say earlier, because I'm going to train you up to be able to actually consult these businesses in a way they hadn't been consulted before. But those are some of the strategies. Taking a day off. You will find in short order, since we're getting reoccurring orders week after week, or some orders are once every 2 weeks or whatever it is, you can set this up in short order where you are really getting some traction in a short amount of time if you go out there and actually go to the businesses and have the conversations you need to have on a consistent basis, and hit it strong right in the beginning. Okay? Because once you have the accounts, and this is so important, once you do that effort, you can always build later, but you can put quite a few orders under your belt on a weekly basis to begin with, and then build off of that and transition in not only the pallet situation, but all the other things that we deal with. So you may have heard me say before, if you have 5 customers, but this one's ordering pallets and dunnage, and this one's ordering pallets, crates, and 55-gallon drums, and this one's ordering pallets and industrial bags, and this one's ordering corrugated boxes and dunnage. Well, that's like 10, 12 accounts each order, and there's money in all of those items, right? And we're getting 95% of that stuff for free. So you're not going to have to do that scouting and face-to-face or phone calling forever and ever. You want to get those in your belt, and then once you have them, they're going to order over and over and over again. Okay, so hard push at first, and set this up to where if you want to just do this part time. I have students that do this just part time. I have students that do it 1 day a week. They set up all their orders on Tuesday, do 2 or 3 orders, pull in $1,500, and they take the rest of the week off. I don't have a problem with that. That's the way you want to do it. But then I have other students that have transitioned from full-time work that they were doing, pushed hard, got off to a fast start, and then now they said bye-bye to the job, and they work like in the mornings and stuff, and have time with their family after the fact, after they're done with these orders, because it doesn't take that long to do as far as picking up and delivering. So work hard in the beginning, and then you have a simple biz in the end. Is it all rainbows and unicorns? Absolutely not. No business is. There's problem solving and stuff like that come into play, where you're trying to really help the customer out in the right way, even after you have them, and you're trying to, if you want to, for lack of a better word, double dip into that business, meaning first money, second money, with the other items that you sell to them as well, besides just the pallets and the varieties of pallets that we sell. That is a smart way of going about it. Okay? I hope this helps. You certainly have student after student after student that have transitioned from this to full-time, and I have students that do this on a part-time basis as well. And I think you have to ask yourself, all right, which way do I want to go about it? I have some people who wanted to start off just part-time and thought that they do this just as a side gig, but they enjoyed it so much because it is fun when you start getting, you walk into a business and there's like mountains of pallets, and you know now that those stacks and stacks of pallets is money, right? And it's free money, minus, your gas and of course you for the rental of a truck or whatever. But there's so much profit in those stacks of pallets. You go, wow, this is just one place, right? In this one block. And I got 80 other businesses to deal with in this block, right, of town. Well, then some of them are suppliers and some of them are buyers. So that game that it becomes into is like the scavenger hunt with a map, is fun. It really is. And then it becomes a little bit, I've said this before, once you have these deals set up, if a 12-year-old could drive, he could execute the simple part of this business of picking stuff up and not literally, but having the forklift strut loaded on your truck and move it down a few blocks down the road to the buyer and write an invoice out. That's the simple part, but we got to train you up to get to the part where you know your stuff and you're able to help these businesses. Okay, I hope I covered this topic and probably repeated myself a few times. Anyway, I'm trying to drive the point home. Hope everybody's doing well. If you're stuck on the fence, book an appointment. Opt in at the Simplest Biz at the simplestbiz.com. Send us an email at the simplestbiz at gmail.com. And we will get your questions answered. And if you're the type of person that is attracted to this and can see it as part of your life, reach out to us. We'll answer some questions for you if you have any, and give you what your options are and go from there. No pressure. Okay? All right. John with the Simplest Biz Pallet Business, out.